Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Dill, Mike Elko in Texas A&M, and for some reason, the national media they just refuse to talk about this football team. Look, we've had the college football playoff conversation. I think it's become very clear through the first month of football. This team's good enough to make the college football playoffs. Are we ready to open up the conversation of this team having the ability to compete for a national championship? Look, does that mean I'm getting up here and picking Texas A&M to win a national championship? No, I'm not there yet. But Dill, from a pure ability standpoint, I firmly believe this team is built the right way. And what continues to stand out to me is how complete this football team is and how many different ways that they can win a football game. They go on the road to Notre Dame. The defense struggles. They get into a shootout. They have the firepower to go blow for blow with anybody in the country on the offensive side of the football. The last 2 weeks, this was the version of Texas A&M that a lot of us envisioned. Dominant run game, playing very good defense. Their ability to win games that look different, it continues to stand out to me. Number two, team feels a little bit different from a culture standpoint. And I know that's a little bit of a superficial take, but go listen to how Mike Elko talks about this team and talks about the locker room and talks about the culture. It's a hell of a lot different than how Mike Elko was talking about this football team 12 months ago. We always knew that Texas A&M had the talent to bang with anybody in the country. It just never really felt like it came together. Never really felt like this team had an identity. Feels like this team's really damn talented, but they got an identity as well. That's what fires me up the most. And lastly, this Texas A&M defense, and we'll get into it a little bit more nitty gritty. This is the version of the Mike Elko defense that we expected when he got to College Station. This team feels like they're coming together. And it's a good Mississippi State team that took Tennessee to overtime last week, and they absolutely dominated the second half of this football game. And I don't even know if they played particularly well in this football game in general, specifically not the first half. A lot of really fun takeaways here. Before we get into it, as always, to the Texas A&M fans, hey, most importantly, let it fly in the comment section. What I'm most excited to hear is, hey, have we changed their expectations? Because we have some new information, Dale. Number one, this team is way better than a lot of us thought. We thought they were going to be pretty damn good. This team's better than what we thought they were going to be. But Dale, number two, look across the college football landscape. Like, how many teams are we taking over Texas A&M through the first month? Because the answer is not that many. Would love to hear from the Texas A&M fans. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, the amount of support this fan base has shown the boys, been amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And Dill, I apologize for the long intro. I will give you the tee box here. Where do you want to first go in terms of how this Texas A&M team looks?
I mean, I think the big fundamental difference is your best players play really well pretty consistently. And that wasn't like a thing last year. Like, you had some really good players on this team, for sure you did. But, like, did Shamar Stewart play like the best player on the field all that often? No. Did Nick Scorton play that way enough in big spots? Probably
Yes.
not. Like, Cassius Howell right now, he's playing at a really dominant level and he's doing it consistently. Torian York, he's cranked his level up to what I think, frankly, a lot of us would have expected. And I think that's a big reason why this defense has turned itself around. I mean, him and Damian Sanford are becoming a very, very dangerous linebacker duo. Look on the other side of the ball. When you need big explosive plays, Mario Craver and KC have both regularly been making them. So
we had this same conversation.
Play at the high level consistently is a much bigger – it's just a huge difference from past Texas A&M teams.
We had this same conversation with Oregon 7 days ago when they went on the road and played Penn State. Their best players were the best players on the football field against a very quality opponent. That's what kind of sold us on Oregon. Kind of saying the same thing for Texas A&M. Like, when you host Florida next week, who are the best players on the team? And Florida's going to be a really good time. I am fired up for that football game. But go look at the best teams across the country. How many wide receivers are you taking over Mario Craver? How many edge rushers are you taking over Cassius Howell? The answer is not that many. I completely agree with you because that's a stark difference in terms of years past. Your best players are some of the best damn players in the country. Dill, I want to get into what we learned from this Texas A&M offense. And look, just take this with a grain of salt, because I'm sitting here in my basement in Rochester, New York, and I ain't no offensive mastermind. But it really does seem like once we start making a concerted effort to get the football into Mario Craver's hands, to get the football into KC's hands, two things happen. Number one, the offense all of a sudden starts scoring points. But number two, Marcel Reed seems to settle in. It felt like it took him that first half before it's like, hey, let's go get some easy throws to KC. Let's go get some easy throws to Mario Craver. You settle Marcel Reed in, but you also give these two dynamic football players more of a chance to put their fingerprint on the game. I would like to see Texas A&M do that a little bit more. And
Well,
I
I
get
think it's much more noticeable with Mario Craver. Like, he needs the ball in his hands
yeah,
more. And to me, frankly, he's the number one guy on this team. That's not really a shot at KC. That's like just like
fair.
big ups to
Fair.
like what Mario
Mario
Craver's
Craze.
done because he's been dominant. And like I look the first half of that game, especially against Mississippi State, but also you probably look at that
Auburn
Auburn
too.
game
Yeah.
too. I mean, he needs the ball in his hands much more consistently. Like I think they need to he's got to touch it. That's probably all I'd leave it at. Like he can't go
Yes.
a half with touching the ball like one or two times. He needs the ball in his hands.
I could not agree more, because once they started getting the football into his hands, all of a sudden good things start happening. The other storyline, Reuben Owens. This team needs more than one running back. Last year when Le'Veon Moss went down, this Texas A&M team struggled in a massive way, especially when you're talking about Texas A&M team that wants to run the football damn near 40 times a game. You want more than one running back. And Dale, this was the game where I think a lot of Texas A&M fans looked at Reuben Owens and say, yeah, he's back, right? What
'Cause it
stood out
wasn't
to
just like the explosiveness, and you saw a little bit more pop and acceleration through the hole,
yes,
but I felt like when they were just like asking him to
the
go
hard
run
yards.
for 4 yards, he was doing that. And that like Texas A&M is gonna need that because when they're
Yes.
staying on schedule, and that's been like you talk about that run game kind of leading the way a little bit, you keep them out of those bad situations. This is a really hard team to deal with.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Moss has been doing it. I think everyone kind of realized how big his impact was when he
Yep.
went down last year, and like
Yeah.
things started to unravel a bit for A&M's offense. He's a huge difference maker, but it's big to have two guys going at a high level because you're running the ball a lot and you're doing it pretty consistently. So I think you need both going. I think Reuben Owens kind of showing that you're right. He does feel kind of back. It's a huge
Well,
sign.
and you mentioned the most important thing. Look, when you want 21 carries in this conference, you have to have the ability to get those hard yards. Like turn a 2nd and 8 into a 2nd and 6. Not every play has to be a home run. And you love the fact that Reuben Owens can give that to you. But what's a lot more important is this Texas A&M team staying on schedule. A 2nd and 6, 3rd and 2, that whole playbook's open. You become really hard to defend. Reuben Owens showing the ability that he can run hard between the tackles and get those hard yards like Le'Veon Moss can do as well. That was probably my biggest takeaway. Reuben Owens going to find his home runs. Ain't no question about that. But his ability to run hard, that's what stood out to me. And Dill, this offensive line, man, look, are we surprised that they're moving Mississippi State around in the run game? No, not really, right? This Texas A&M offensive line was moving bodies in the run game last year. Pass protection, it's been awesome, man. I mean, here's the thing that I want to start with. 26 dropbacks for Marcel Reed yesterday against Mississippi State. You kept him clean on 24 of this. Yeah, he was under pressure 2 times all night against Mississippi State. And it's been solid all year. I mean, it was solid against Notre Dame. It was solid against Auburn too. And that Auburn pass rush might
Yeah.
be one of the best pass rush units that you see in the country. The steps that this offensive line has taken in pass protection, Demetrius Crownover is playing the best football of this kid's life. That's what stands out to me about this Texas A&M offensive
And
line.
it's really allowed them to levelize their offensive play out a little bit. Because last year, like, yeah, you had good moments for sure, but then you had some like real nightmares. Like that South Carolina game, you can't win playing that way up front. You can't play with those negative
Yeah,
plays and all
yeah.
the chaos that was kind of unfolding. You're not really seeing that. And you've seen like Marcel Reed go through maybe some stretches like that first half, not particularly
Sure.
great. But it's like it doesn't get bad. It's just like, okay, we're stuck in a rut a little bit on offense, but we're not like turning the ball over and giving the ball away and just like
We're
defensive.
not losing games. Yeah, we're not losing games. I 100% agree. And I'll say this about Marcel Reed. It was not his best game. But there continues to be not that many quarterbacks I'm taking over Marcel Reed in the SEC. And the other thing is that this kid continues to get better every time he touches the field. That's what should excite Texas A&M fans. He's just getting better. It started when he took over this offense last year, and he's keep getting better. You stay on that trajectory, you're going to be looking at one of the more dangerous quarterbacks in this conference. Look, we stopped taking penalties because these penalties are starting to become a little bit of a problem, right? They're taking away some big-time explosive plays. What happens to this Texas A&M team when we stop taking the penalties? And I feel pretty confident that Mike Elko is going to get that under
Well,
control.
the Cabo Fund, I think the Cabo Fund's going to work.
Yeah, he's going to be hopefully he doesn't have that nice of a vacation, but he's already going to have a nice vacation in the offseason. All right. Hey, we kind of buried the lead here. We're 10 minutes in, barely talked about this Texas A&M defense because that's probably the biggest storyline, Dill. Mississippi State at 219 total yards. This is an offense that knows how to create explosive plays. This is an offense that's been pretty damn good to start 2025. I got 4 keys that I want to talk about real quick, and then we'll get nitty-gritty. Number 1, this team's been elite on third downs the last 2 weeks. I believe there's been 1 third down conversion over the last 2 games. That's it. When you play like that, you're not going to lose a lot of football games. Number 2, Dill, you're forcing a lot of negative plays. Like Cassius, not only in terms of sacks, but tackles for loss, getting teams behind the chains. You had 4 sacks, 9 TFLs. That's really good. No explosives. Not really blowing any coverages. Last year, Texas A&M, from a down-to-down standpoint, was not all that bad on defense. But golly, they were good for like 350-plus yard plays a game. That's what they were giving up. Mississippi State had 1 play that went over 25-plus yards. Really big. And you're not missing tackles. This is back-to-back week where this team is tackling in space, specifically at the second and third levels. You continue to do some of the most important parts of playing defense at a high level. This defense has the opportunity to be really good the rest of the way in 2025.
They're starting to get some guys really rolling, I feel like. And again, we kind of started out early, but Torian York, I feel like this is like the version we needed from him. And you knew you needed a big year from him. Now, Damian Sanford coming along too. But I do feel like even on the inside of the defensive line, like DJ Hicks, I know he took the roughing the passer, which was
garbage, by the way.
But like he's starting to be impactful and making more differences. Tyler O has been dominant this year. He was a big transfer portal addition. I just look like some of these guys who maybe did have a bit of a slow start to the year, frankly, have really started to raise their level. And it's been noticeable on defense because they've made a ton of progress. Like the offense have been good all year. I kind of like, then that's great. But this defense has like improved leaps and bounds.
Funny how when you return a really good head coach who knows how to coach defense, and then you return the whole roster too. Funny how it all seems to come together after 1 year, right? Because you could tell last year's a collection of pretty damn good football players. Like, look, Will Lee was pretty damn good last year. We knew Des Ricks had the ability to be damn good last year. It just didn't come together. Now in year 2 under Mike Elko with all of these guys back, it's come together. And their ability to play complementary football. Like when that Texas A&M team is stuck in the mud in the first half and that defense is standing tall, that's a big deal. They have the ability to lean on their offense if they need to win games. They have their ability to lean on the defense if they need to win games. That's what makes them special. There's not a lot of teams that can say, hey, I trust both sides of the football to go win me a football game. Texas A&M has that ability. Dill, let's start with SEC. Like, how many teams are you taking over Texas A&M right now in this conference?
Nobody. I don't think. Maybe Oklahoma is the one that I feel like is right
with
there.
With John Mateer, right? You're certainly not taking Texas. You're not taking Florida. You're not taking LSU. Alabama's working their way into that conversation. Georgia is always going to be in that conversation. I would argue I don't know if there's been a team that's been more impressive to start 2025 than what Texas A&M has. Now, here's the other storyline, Dale. Hey, Texas A&M, if you're a pessimistic Texas A&M fan, well, this is what happened last year. We started off hot and trailed. There's a little bit of a difference here, in my opinion. Number 1, this team feels a little bit different. Number 2, this team's a lot deeper, man. So you talk about playing your best football in November. You feel better about Texas A&M doing that than they did last year because when those injuries started piling up for Texas A&M, and every team's going to have some injury. Every team going to be banged up in November. Do you have the depth to continue to play your best football? It feels like Texas A&M is better situated to play their best football in November. Especially because it just seems like this team's getting better, which is another important conversation because there's not a lot of other teams that can say that. We'll close it out there. Going to be a really, really fun team. I think we're going to preview this Florida game today. We'll close it out here. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.